Even Selene, with her incredibly rare and powerful elemental mage class, wouldn't have a talent anywhere near this potent. Classes and talents operated on different scales. A person might have an exceptional class and a mediocre talent, or vice versa. The system distributed advantages unevenly. Moon had gotten extraordinarily lucky with his talent, even if his class situation was unconventional. After they finished sharing their experiences and discussing which skills had proven most effective, Selene's eyes lit up with fresh enthusiasm. Looking at each of them in turn, she said, "So, do you guys want to go on a real hunt now, outside the base?" There was a moment of silence as the question settled between them. Going outside meant real danger. There were no safety barriers, no workers to intervene if things went wrong. Death became a genuine possibility rather than a distant concern. John nodded without hesitation. "I'm ready. That's why we're here. I currently have a few lives in stock, so it should be fine if we don't venture into any zones with a high penalty." Alara's agreement came just as quickly. "Same. The training grounds were useful, but we need actual combat experience." Moon met Selene's gaze and nodded as well. He had 25 lives, 3 levels, and a copied class that was growing stronger with every use. More importantly, staying safe meant staying weak. He couldn't afford weakness. Not with only $1,000 to his name and a future that depended entirely on what he could accomplish here. "Let's go," he said. Selene's grin widened, excitement radiating in heat waves from her body language. "Perfect. Let's gear up and head out. I saw some people selling basic equipment near the main gate. We should at least get some weapons and maybe a few healing supplies before we leave." The group began walking toward the base's commercial district, their footsteps echoing through the stone corridors. Moon walked with them, his mind already calculating how much money he would have left once he bought equipment, or if he should buy any at all. In the first sanctuary, magical weapons and equipment from Earth were not allowed through, and vice versa. The mechanism was peculiar and selective. The sanctuary allowed humans to enter and leave with things like cash, clothes, and personal items, but anything imbued with power or designed for combat was rejected by the portals. Even the heirs of the wealthiest families needed to purchase their equipment directly from the merchants of the first sanctuary itself. It was one of the few areas where everyone started on relatively equal footing. The commercial district near the main gate was bustling with activity. Stalls and small shops lined the stone corridors, their wares displayed prominently. Weapons, armor, potions, tools, all crafted within the sanctuary and priced in Earth currency that retained its value here. Just like everyone else, most of the Awakeners lived on Earth but mainly used the first sanctuary as a place to gather money for their family. The ability to move cash between both worlds allowed for Earth currency to retain its value. Of course, there were other currencies like beast cores, but this wasn't something that an orphan like Moon had his hands on. Beast cores were mainly used to create magical weapons. In their nature, these cores contain an abundance of energy that can be used to amplify or refine magical weapons. The others began browsing immediately, their purchases reflecting their preparation and resources. Alara, having already bought a bow before entering their team, skipped the weapon stalls entirely. She stopped at a Fletcher's stand and purchased several bundles of arrows, inspecting the fletching and tips with an expert's eye before handing over the money. Selene moved through the district with a clear purpose, stopping at multiple vendors. She emerged with a mage's robe in deep blue, a wooden staff carved with flowing patterns, and several healing potions that glowed faintly in their glass vials. The total must have been substantial, but she paid without hesitation. John's purchases were the most considering he was a tank. He bought a full body armor that covered him from neck to shin, a large shield emblazoned with a simple design, and a one-handed sword with a straight, sharp blade. He looked every bit the tank his class suggested, ready to stand on the front line. Moon approached the armor stalls with considerably less confidence. He had $1,000 remaining, so every purchase mattered. He settled on the most basic option available, lightweight armor that consisted of reinforced leather covering his chest and shoulders. The armor had no helmet or greaves. It provided just enough protection to potentially save him from a glancing blow without restricting his movement. The cost was $500, leaving him with half the amount only. An item panel identified it as lightweight armor, rank common, and said that it provided minimal protection while offering high mobility to move in without restriction. Half his remaining money was gone in an instant, but it was necessary on multiple grounds. Going outside without any protection at all would be suicidal. He was fastening the straps when Selene approached, moving close enough that her voice wouldn't be heard by the others. "Do you need some money?" She whispered near his ear. "I can help you out if you want. You can pay me back later." The offer was delivered carefully, quietly, to avoid embarrassing him in front of John and Alara. It was a considerate gesture, a kind one at that, but Moon couldn't accept it. Accepting money meant creating a debt, a connection, a vulnerability. It meant appearing weak, dependent, and someone who needed charity. He'd already lost everything once by trusting the wrong person, by allowing himself to be in a position where others held power over him. He wouldn't make that mistake again. Moon shook his head, keeping his expression neutral. "No, it's all right. I've already bought some things before coming here. Thanks for the offer." Selene's face turned to one of understanding, then concern that she'd overstepped her boundaries. "Sorry if I offended you. I didn't mean to assume anything." "None taken," Moon replied evenly. Selene nodded, accepting his response without pushing further. She stepped back, giving him space, and rejoined John and Alara, who were comparing their new equipment. Moon adjusted the straps on his lightweight armor one final time, making sure it sat properly. The group finished their preparations and began moving toward the main gate, where the entrance to the wider sanctuary waited beyond the safety of the base walls. If you enjoyed this chapter, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next chapter of the story.